but the really, I would say, big breakthrough moment for me was when the CEO, the CFO, the head of investor relations, and the head of R&D of one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world came into our office to reassure us about their stock. So their stock was plummeting in the stock market. It was down 25 or 30%. And they were going and visiting with their biggest investors to reassure them that their new blockbuster drug was okay. The problem was that rumors were trickling out from their phase 3 trials, which is the last phase of clinical trials that a drug goes through before it can apply for licensure from the FDA, that this drug was killing people. So the CEO and this whole team, his whole management team comes in and they're sitting there and I'm in my office in London. I was responsible for essentially interviewing the CEOs and the management teams of these multinational corporations and then deciding whether or not Alliance should put money into those stocks in their European portfolios, international and global portfolios, and sometimes in our domestic US portfolios. And so the CEO comes in and he literally, with this as the backdrop, there's a speakerphone to New York, our pharmaceutical analyst in London, other portfolio managers and our traders. And he looks across the table at me and he says, a few people have died. It's very, very rare. And he said, without missing a beat, the bad news is the FDA is going to make us put a black box warning on our packaging. The good news is we still think we can do $7 billion in peak sales.
Wow.
I felt like someone had kicked me in the stomach. I was like, oh my gosh, like he knows they're going to kill people, but he thinks that I should be happy because the stock's going to go back up and we're going to make money.
What was the drug for?
I don't say. I mean, as soon as I say, everybody will know exactly what company it is. Let's just say it's a household name. Everybody knows this company at this point in time. And it was about 25 years ago. That's all I'm willing to say because there's just no upside to me saying what it is because everybody will know exactly what company it is.
Okay, so Health Freedom Defense Fund. When did you found it?
I started it in the spring of 2020, but actually legally stood it up in August of 2020.
August of 2020.
Yeah.
So what are some of your hallmark cases or activities?
Yeah, well, let me just say that the reason that I started Health Freedom Defense Fund was because, going way back, I'd been in the health freedom space for 25 years now, or 20 years at that point. And as soon as 2020 opened, I was absolutely certain, as much as I could be, that what was happening was some kind of an operation in order to mandate vaccines and lockdowns and all these other things. It was a perfect script given everything they'd put in place for over 20 years to facilitate an authoritarian response to a so-called public health emergency. And so I founded Health Freedom Defense Fund because I wanted to be able to fight back. And the biggest case, the first huge case that we won, well, first we stopped the Los Angeles Unified School District from mandating the EUA shot for their employees in March of 2021. That was our very, very first lawsuit that we filed. The day after we filed it, they rescinded their mandate and said, oh, it wasn't really a mandate. It was just a suggestion. So that was huge.
Did you know then that the mRNA vaccine was dangerous?
Absolutely.
How did you know?
So this is 2021. If you read anybody who had looked at the actual data that had been released or understood what they were assessing, they were only assessing suppression of symptoms. And there were and they were using what's called relative risk instead of absolute risk in order to deem these products safe. So when you look at absolute risk, you want to know how much in percent. So do you have a 3% chance of getting something after taking the shot and you had a 30% chance before taking it? That's absolute. Relative is before you took the shot, you had a 2% risk, and now you have a 1% risk, and they say that's a 50% improvement. That's how you make statistics lie. And anybody who looked at that data could tell that that's what they were doing. So I knew very early on that that was what was going on because I've been involved in the health freedom community and the vaccine safety awareness community for a very long time. And so the people who are actually doing the analysis of the data that was available could tell you that this is what's going on.
Prior to 2023, I had never actually met anybody in the medical freedom world. I didn't, and I just read the articles, which attacked viciously anti-vaxxers. And then I realized that the people that the media were calling anti-vaxxers are actually medical freedom people, many of which, love the idea of vaccines, but just know the realities and the data and the risk profiles that and the full risk profile, not just, what is allowed to be discussed, but kind of like what's really, really happening, which is not allowed to be discussed. But going back to your history, I'm inspired, but I'm also very curious about the people who dedicate their lives to this work, because it's pretty thankless. It's dangerous. You get censored, you get discredited. There's been stories of people possibly being murdered for their whistleblowing. What is the evolution of this group of people, this work, your work? How did you find other people who were seeing similar things, and how did you guys unite over being fired up over it?
Yeah. So let me just say, first of all, that you don't wear a mask on an airplane because of Health Freedom Defense Fund. We're the organization that challenged and defeated the federal travel mask mandate in 2022. So that's another one of our big cases. And then we have a huge case that's still underway. We just lost the last round of our second case against the Los Angeles Unified School District, but it's not over yet. And we defeated the federal mandate that green card applicants from abroad get the COVID shot just earlier this year. We've had many, many wins. So I just want people to understand, have a little bit of context of who I am. So, if you look back, I'm working on Wall Street. I'm having these experiences where CEOs will tell me, oh, we're very confident we're going to get the, power generation project in whatever, Indonesia. I'm just making up Indonesia. And, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, they're bribing people. And then I have this experience with the CEO telling me that they know they're going to kill people. And I mean, I remember coming home one day and it was December of somewhere, it was either 2000 or 2001. And I came home and my husband said, oh my gosh, did you get your bonus today? And I was literally like opening the refrigerator door. And I was like, yeah, I did. And he's like, well, what did you get? And I told him what the number was, and he was just like, and I started crying. And he's like, "Are you disappointed?" And I said, "No, I'm empty." Because Nicole, I was 30, probably 37 years old, 38 years old. No, I wasn't 30. Yeah, I might have been 38. And I had all the trappings of success, right? I had this big, beautiful flat in London. I was a director, managing director. I'm the boss. I have money, position, power, everything you can imagine, right? But I realized, having gotten that bonus combined with these things I was hearing from these CEOs, that I was playing for the wrong team and I couldn't do it anymore.